This afternoon I'm going to be talking to the audience about the new apprenticeship reforms. These have been set out by the Department for Education, who have some very ambitious plans around increasing the volume and quality of apprenticeships. It's the SFA's role in that process to look at what that policy is and then help put that into practice through our rules and our processes within the Skills Funding Agency. So my focus of the presentation today will be to give a little bit of an overview of the policy, but then go into a lot more detail around some of the big things that are within our funding rules. That won't replace the funding rules themselves. It's really important that people read those funding rules and understand those funding rules. But some of the headlines that I kind of want to draw out this afternoon would include things like what an apprenticeship is. So it's really important to focus on the fact that an apprenticeship is a genuine job, with a substantial skills component to that. And by substantial, we mean something that's going to take at least 12 months and it's going to take up at least 20% of that employee's time off the job. So that's quite significant, and it's quite a commitment for both the apprentice and the employer. And to do that, we need to make sure that they've got the right support available from the employer so that they can get the skills, knowledge and behaviours that they need to get that apprenticeship, as well as being able to actually just have the support to do the study and other things that they need to gain the apprenticeship as well. So that's one of the things I'll talk about this afternoon. I'll also go into a bit more detail around what eligible and non-eligible costs are. So things like off-the-job training is obviously an eligible cost, and there are other things that are included in there, such as administration that's associated with the apprenticeship. But equally, there are some things that we won't be looking to fund. That doesn't mean that the employer can't fund them, but the government aren't looking to fund that through the apprenticeship programme. So, for example, things like the apprentice's wages, travel associated with the apprenticeship aren't eligible. And again, we'll go into a little bit more detail of that this afternoon. Other things that I think we will discuss this afternoon will include the new contracting framework that we have putting in place as part of the new apprenticeship programme. In the new system, we'll have levy paying employers and non-levy paying employers. And for the first time, the Skills Funding Agency will have a contractual arrangement with employers directly. And it will be the employers who then instruct the Skills Funding Agency to make payments to the providers of their choice. And we'll be expecting providers and employers to have that contract for service between each other, because actually it's the employer that's doing the purchasing. We're just funding it on their behalf. And then in the non-levy system, there'll be arrangements very similar to now where the SFA contracts with the provider, providing they've been successful through the current procurement exercise, and as a consequence of that, the provider then will have the direct contractual relationship with the employer, and the SFA, as now, won't have that particular arrangement. So hopefully that will give people quite a good overview of the sorts of things that we're expecting in the new model when it kind of starts to hit the ground running in May.